As always, that beat and vibes are amazing and immaculate. Welcome back, everyone, to Onslaught Gaming 40K. And today we have some very interesting new changes to the Pariah Nexus in the Warhammer 40K world. All right. Rapid Fire Tactics wants to bring you the best content always. And make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell to get your notifications. And we're going to get into it very fast. So for those of you who haven't participated before on Rapid Fire Tactics, this is an Onslaught Gaming 40K platform. We also have Onslaught Candidate School, which is basically a lot of core information, making rules more comprehensible and breaking it down for you to understand. Ops is more into the interviews and breaking down what new players and exciting players and the best players in the world do. All right? So give us one moment and we're going to get started. All right. Now to bring you some exciting information from the Core Rules Update, version 1.1. Specifically, we're going to talk about timing here. All right? And it's going to be relevant to some rules that I'm going to talk about with you today. If some rules take effect at the start of a phase, turn or battle round, and another rule takes effect during that same phase, turn or battle round, without specifying the start, can that latter rule take effect before all of those other rules are resolved? No. All rules that take effect at the start of a phase, turn or battle round must be fully resolved before any rules that do not specify they take effect at the start of that phase, turn or battle round. So just like we were talking about timing sequencing, this is very relevant to that. Doombolt is an ability that's very contentious at the moment. Use this ritual at the start of your shooting phase. Why is that important between that wording? Well, this needs to be resolved first before any other abilities. Now to break down sequencing so then you understand all of these components when it comes to Doombolt. While playing Warhammer 40,000, you'll occasionally find that two or more rules are to be resolved at the same time. If this occurs during the battle, the player whose turn it is chooses the order. If this occurs before or after the battle or at the start or end of the battle round, the players roll off and the winner decides the order in which those rules are resolved. So, Custodes have an ability called Arcane Genetic Alchemy. And this does work because of the first sentence. It has the just after clause. Watcher in the Dark does not because the sequencing is any phase, which if you look at sequencing again, it's once per battle in any phase. And since Doombolt is at the beginning of the battle round, right, or start of the phase, it goes first. So you do not get your feel no pains for Watcher in the Dark. And the last one is called Living Fortress. Living Fortress is at the same time because sequencing gives priority to the player whose turn it is. So this does not work also when it comes down to Doombolt. I know. This can be a little bit confusing at first and may make some people upset, but hopefully it gets rectified very soon. Another one, due to bad wording. So in this section, bad wording works so you lose your ability, all right? This is very dear to me in my heart, but still raw is raw. And at my events, I still run them how they need to be raw, all right? So Orcs Dead Brutal. When you call a wall until the start of your next battle round, this model's huge chopper has a damage characteristic of 3. So it says specifically when you call a wall. And you're asking me, hey, why General Slaughter doesn't this work? Well, if you're inside a truck or a battle wagon and you call a wall with this War Boss's ability and or the War Boss and Mega Armor, which has the same bad wording, you do not get your bonuses at all whatsoever. Should it be like that? Absolutely not. It hurts. I'm an Orc player. I love it. But raw, it just doesn't work currently. And hopefully with an FAQ very soon, it will work. But what does work is the Mega Knob's Crumping Time. During the battle round in which you call a wall, right, different wording, models in this unit have the Feel No Pain 5+ ability. So, because of bad wording, war bosses and mega armor war bosses' wah ability that gives them bonuses in the game does not work currently, but mega knobs in a battle wagon or a truck does work. And this is due because of the FAQ change to transports and unit models embarked to make nothing work, just about. Another bad wording example from the Sisters of Battle is the Pentant Host. At the start of the battle round, select one of the following vows of atonement to be active for your army until the start of your next battle round. You can only select each vow of atonement once per battle. See here, it says select. It doesn't say you may select, which would infer that you can select in any battle round. Because it only says select, and hopefully this can be rectified as well with an easy FAQ, you can only use it in battle rounds 1, 2, and 3. Once it's gone, and you can't use it in battle rounds 4 and 5. And this is another one that can get very sticky. And it's more so based on the comprehensive level of understanding of how all these rules intermingle with wording, specifically the word unit. If a Neurotyrant is attached to a bodyguard unit of Zoanthropes, do they also get the monster keyword to use Big Guns Never Tire? Yes, the presence of the monster keyword would indeed grant Zoanthropes the ability to use the Big Guns Never Tire rule. This is because the rule applies to any unit with the monster keyword. In addition, so you're aware, the non-monster models do not take the penalty of -1 to shoot. The reason being you don't take the -1 to shoot ability, it's because they are models that are not monster keyword, and the penalty applies to the unit. So the individual models do not take that penalty. Pretty sweet, isn't it, for a Tyranid player? Pivoting rules. Oh, man. This has been one that everyone has been fussing and arguing about in the community, and it's created some confusion. So allow me to help you out if you don't mind. Pivoting rules. Pivot value. Models have a pivot value of 0. Unless otherwise stated, models that are not on a round base, excluding aircraft models, have a pivot value of 2 inches unless otherwise stated. Here's where it can get a little bit confusing and people are reading into this. Designers know this expands in the pivot value of 2 inches to all models on non-round bases, excluding aircraft, as well as to models that do not have any base, to ensure no undue advantage is conferred by pivoting such models, ergo while making a charge move, right? So that is not a super accurate statement. If you're using a battle wagon, for example, and you want to charge and you're 9 inches away and your vehicle is completely horizontal to the model that you're charging, in your charge phase, you can pivot. Yes, the pivot is going to be -2 inches, but you're going to gain an inch. So if you were 9 inches away, you would actually need an 8-inch charge. It will give you a slight bonus. For things like a Tantalus or an Astraeus, that will give you a charge to be a lot closer, right? I mean, a Tantalus, you'll probably need a 2-inch to 3-inch charge. An Astraeus, probably the same deal. From what we know from the wording, this was rules to be as intended, and this is how we should play it for the time being. Don't worry. This shouldn't make big advantages over your army. These are usually vehicles that have a very low toughness that if they're going to come in and tank shock you, or even for that matter, fight you, it's probably something that's not going to kill much other than the tank shot, right? So let's say, for example, you have an intercessors unit, 5 models. You get charged with a 2-inch charge from a Tantalus. They do a tank shot. On average, they might do 2 mortar wounds to you, killing 1 model. Could it potentially take away that objective from you? Probably not, unless they have multiples of it, right? And we all know the Tantalus is an OC8. So worry not. A lot of these changes are healthy changes for the game. It's going to create some dynamic scenarios where you're going to feel where it's very cheesy. But the only reason you're going to feel like that is because it's very different. I love this rule, to be quite honest with you. Aren't you sick and tired of having to pivot your model around and worry about how you're going to move it instead of where you're going to move to with that model? I am. This makes me very happy. So everything like my Lord of Skulls takes a -2 penalty for its pivoting and can continue pivoting as much as it wants afterwards and get into the position that it needs to get into. And I no longer have to worry about where do I have to go? Can I move through this area? Do I have enough movement? It just really slows down the game. I think this speeds it up a lot. And later on, once we get used to it, we'll stop knee-jerking and we'll feel a lot better about it. Devious Mastermind is probably one of the most contentious rules we have out right now. So, you know how it is to be Vect, right? You've all battled an assassin. Well, that's changed. Everything is being rewritten to Lord of Deceit with an aura ability. So once per battle, after your opponent uses a stratagem, if this model is your warlord and is on the battlefield, it can use this ability. If it does so, until the end of the battle, increase the cost of that stratagem to your opponent by 1. Specific replacement rule. If a model has a rule that would once per battle round increase the CP cost of an opponent's stratagem, ergo a Calidus Assassin's Reign of Confusion ability, that rule is replaced with the following ability. So it's completely rewritten and replaced with this one. So I'm looking at you, Dark Eldar players. Lord of Deceit, or ability. Each time your opponent targets a unit from your army with a stratagem, if that unit is within 12 inches of this model, increase the cost of that use of that stratagem by 1 CP. So what ends up happening is Devious Mastermind no longer works in the way that it should work, and it only works for your warlord currently. That's what's written there. That's what's raw. So you can't take a 3-unit, 3 models of Archons, right, and do it with each one of them and do Lord of Deceit on all of them. It has to be your warlord for what I can read on this. Also, another good example is the Deathwatch Watchmaster. Deathwatch Watchmaster also gets rewritten, and we start using the Lord of Deceit instead. Start using those abilities properly, and it'll help you in your next battle of Warhammer 40K. Today, hopefully, I brought you some insightful information to make you more knowledgeable from rapid fire tactics. That's what we're all about, right? So we talked about sequencing and timing. We talk about bad wording, wording of understanding, Lord of Deceit, and other rules, right? So hopefully this brings you more insight and understanding into your world of Warhammer 40K. Don't forget, make sure to like, share, and subscribe on the Onslaught Gaming 40K platform. Thank you so much. Take care.